it's a hashtag feud. The tension brews, opinions clash like unstoppable views. A digital brink where patience shatters with each post and each fiery scatter. Just retweets, clashes and echoes of grins. They say that the pen is mightier than the sword. Well, mine's a keyboard. So go to war if that's what makes you feel alive. I'll take it personally, but won't take it offline. It's like a drug, it's poison in my mind. My thumb is the trigger, and I've got you in my sights. And if it's all part of God's plan, I'd like to have a word with him. I'm not a fan, so take me to war. I hope it makes you feel alive. I'll take it personally, but won't take it offline.
All right. Welcome to the stream today. I wasn't looking at the chat. I was just playing the songs and sipping on my coffee and thinking about things that I'd like to do or say today, and then I looked over and I went, wow, there's like 6 people here waiting. And I know that probably doesn't seem like a lot, but when 6 people show up and they're like, can you get the song over? We want to see if you're going to talk shit about us, When you got, I don't know if that's what's really going on. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I feel like that's what's going on. So, I titled this, I hope you do have a cup of coffee. I hope you're in, maybe you are having coffee at the same time that I am some other place in the world. Maybe you are at a coffee shop and you've got your earbuds on and you're listening, or you're, in your home, or you're at work and you're supposed to be typing, but you're really like, what is Terry Joyce saying? Right? I'm kidding. But who knows? I mean, because I started thinking about I did watch David Schurter today. About a stream that he did yesterday, because I've been finishing up my last projects that are my finals, especially more specifically for my creative nonfiction writing class. We did a long form essay, and then we did a flash nonfiction essay. So one was like, at first we had like I believe it was a 3,500 word cap. So we had to get whatever we were writing out within that cap, or we would lose points or whatever. But after all of the your classmates we read each other's essays. And then we do notes like on tracking, like what we think in each paragraph, or, if there's a grammar error or whatever. Right. And then we have to write like then there's another page where we give an overall review of things that we thought about it, things that we liked, phrases that they said, what we thought their strong points were, and then what we think might, that is constructive, that for their rewrite, because we're all required to rewrite our stories after all of this. And so I had to do that on two stories, and then self-reflections, another project that was done throughout the entire semester that I needed to put together, and then do a reflection and an explanation, essay about it or whatever. It was like it's a lot. Like this semester was a lot for me, because I was juggling the part-time job, writing for the Collegian, covering mostly covering AI, and then I was writing these stories, and then I was also one of the judges, student judges. Like I read manuscript after manuscript after manuscript of poetry books, and the class is part of the project of getting the Philip Levine Poetry Contest winner, which which means also that they get a scholarship, or they get, they win, money for it, but they also get a publishing, they get their book published with a small publishing company that is aligned with like the university. So it was a lot of reading. Um, and then I was also reading creative nonfiction essays and rating them for publication for the Normal School magazine, which is published out of Fresno State. And of course, I was looking at creative nonfiction, which is what my graduate major is. And so, I got to look at all kinds of different forms of writing, which was really a gift, to read that much, to read other people's work that much, to look at their work and why do I like it? What is it that I like? What is it that I think is good? What am I learning that is good? Or it stands out, or a great story, a poetry book that, hits all the check marks when you read it and you go, yeah, I think that one should be published. That one said something to me, or there was a story to it, or there was images that were lingering in my mind, things like that. And then I think like when when you're looking at that much and you're critiquing things and you're learning what's, seeing different styles, seeing different possibilities. Like I saw certain forms of writing that I didn't even know were possible. I'm like, wow, I didn't know I could do that with this. So all of that was wonderful. I feel like in that sense, my studies have been good, and I'm not really here to just talk about that this morning. Like I'm not here to go, oh yeah, I did get through my classes. It was a lot though. I'm not gonna lie. I had a heavy load of studies, and I've been having people say, well, she's always on YouTube and blah 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 and doing this and that, blah 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 blah, and it was interesting for me as a writer, and going through what I'm going through in life, because I think my experience is kind of unique. It's kind of unusual, right? Like if I were to like analyze my own life as who is Terry Joyce? Who am I? Am I what's on social media? Am I the things that I've done and seen and lived and experienced? Am I, there's so many, like, I feel like I could write a ton of mini books, and each book would seem like an entire lifetime. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think about like when you incarnate, like when your soul comes into being a human, you're like, wow, I have this whole playground here on earth. What am I going to do? What I'm going to see? And I think I check marked a whole lot of boxes. I want to do this. I want to see this. I'm curious about this. I'm curious about that. But I'm like, because I'm a curious person in the heart of me, and I love experiencing things. And I know this probably doesn't seem that way, but I really like people. I think we are incredibly fascinating people. We're so interesting. everyone's a little bit different, or maybe not. Maybe, sometimes it feels like people congregate together in like this collective mindset, and they have a power and an energy with each other as a group. Like the dynamics, our social dynamics, for me, are fascinating to analyze and look at. Now I know, like, some people might go, what the fuck is she talking about? What are you talking about? And that's fine. I get it. I mean, maybe that's what makes me weird a little bit, is like, I mean, I can think about it, even since I was a child, there was a part of me that stood back and just observed. Like, for example, when the ventriloquist, was up, and with the little puppet and everything. And I remember turning to somebody, I was like under 6, and I could see his lips moving. I mean, that was me. I could see his lips moving. There's something about like myself that makes me just pick something apart if it doesn't seem real to me. And sometimes that gets me into trouble. Like, some people don't want to be held under a microscope that hard, where you're analyzing like their behavior or what they do on the internet. And I find the internet, like, for me, like, if you've lived before this, like, some people they know nothing different than growing up with mom and dad looking down at their cell phone and not communicating anymore. Maybe, I don't know. I can't. What would it be like? Because I feel like when I grew up, we didn't have this, so we looked at each other. We looked at each other in the eyes. We tried, or we were told that when you talk to people, there's certain social cues that you learn that are appropriate or not appropriate, or what's necessary, or whatever. But now, and we didn't, like, let's say, maybe the school, kids in the elementary school like bullied you or didn't like you or whatever. But you grow up and you move someplace else, and maybe you turn into a swan. Maybe you were I like that movie, like Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. And the geeky guy that everybody made fun of was now a millionaire, and this whole, how it shifts, like, like the people who weren't one of the beautiful people, the beautiful people. Every school has the beautiful people. The world has the beautiful people. We look at the beautiful people on our magazines. Everybody wants to be the beautiful person. I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but when you look at that world, Erica Kirk, I mean, she was like Miss America or Miss USA with Donald Trump, who got to be around all the beautiful people. I love that. What is it? I think it's like a Beatles song. Da na 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 na. Da, na, 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 na. Oh no, that's Put a Little Love in Your Heart. No, that's not right. Maybe this is a Put a Little Love in Your Heart. But like that beautiful people. Or the Marilyn Manson has, the beautiful people, the beautiful people. I was just thinking, and like, for some reason, like, Rob Reiner came into my mind. That's so tragic. Carl Reiner first, right? Going back all the way into the Dick Van Dyke Show. I mean, they were amazing writers. They're so funny. I mean, that's a golden era of television. And then you have Rob Reiner, who, came out. He was Carl Reiner's son, but then he was an actor, and then he played Meathead, which was like All in the Family, which was, I mean, I think, what is that, Norman Lear? I mean, there were so many great sitcoms that made social commentary on the world. It was witty. It showed it reflect like for instance, All in the Family, like it shows social class. And he played counterculture. He played a hippie. And he became a director, like Sleepless in Seattle. Oh, I know on the conspiracy world, you can connect all the dots. Tom Hanks, blank, blank, blank. Make this mythical checkbox off. I took a survey on my. I did it on X, and I did it on. Well, it's not really finished. Maybe I should just let it fly for a while. But I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I felt it in my heart when I read what President Trump said on Truth Social. And the whole Trump derangement syndrome thing. And, just like, I feel like, wow. I mean, with a massive tragedy like that, it was still really insulting to Rob Reiner. Like, it's like, I think a lot of us have, it seems like a lot of people are, I experienced a lot of death this year, and especially like towards the end of the year. Like, a lot of people, not only did a lot of like celebrities die and stuff, but like I saw a lot of my friends die on Facebook. Just died this year. People that in my mind I thought I wouldn't have never thought that they would die this year. But they did. And I had a death in the family. And now we have this death of, when you think about it, in the comedy world, it's sort of like, like the Douglases for acting, the father and the son and whatever. This has the same thing. It's like father, son. There's another one, which is Josh Brolin, and then James Brolin, like the father and the son, and the Estevezes, Martin Sheen, that there's these family, like, sort of what you would call like maybe like Hollywood dynasties, really. And then all of a sudden, he and his wife are murdered by their son. Like, it almost like even plays out like a Greek tragedy happening to a comedian. And I really don't want to say like, what like my opinion is on the details, or why, or what do I think, or anything like that. It just feels like when I read things, it's like we've lost our humanity about the way we talk about people, or what would have been kind or appropriate or fair or have discernment or whatever. It just seems like it's just so cruel, and anything can be used and weaponized and politicized, which it has been. Like nothing can be just, oh wow, can we just experience this? Can we just like try to wrap our mind, our brains around what happened? And we're already told that what we think about it or what we say about it is within the division line of the right and the left. And I think it's like even more, I think it's even more of a statement of where we're at right now, almost like, or where we're being forced to be told we're at. It's like, I feel like somebody's telling me, you're this, go sit in that box. And, I think a lot of that happens in this media too. I mean, somehow I'm in a group. I don't want to say I'm in a group because I don't like being in groups. But I guess the algorithm, if you will, over many years about something that happened that did affect politics is associated with this administration. Happened on the internet that when I was first alive didn't even exist. So I don't know if you guys have ever like seen the movie. I think it's called Surrogates. It's got Bruce Willis in it and this other actress. And people they lie in little tombs or like beds or whatever, not as perfect as their robot or flesh robot body that they go out into the world and do whatever in. And in a way it's like everything that we do online, right, is not really like an example of us right now. If you're listening to me, is sitting here having a cup of coffee. Like our outward image, it's sliced, it's edited, it's I'm not going to photograph myself under my chin. It's on Facebook, oh wow, these are the good things that are happening. We want to share the good things, and then we also share the hard things depending on what platform it is. But it's a communication with people where we can make an emoji or a smiley face or make a comment or get a little badge and go, you're fans, you connected, you're a top, you're a conversation starter or whatever. I know I sound sarcastic, but it gets you into maybe this eat a carrot horse, like here's your carrot, here's your carrot, here's your carrot. Oh, I feel better now because this picture got 108 likes. Not really. I mean, like I'm letting my mind go there, but like for me it's not that dramatic. Like I don't survive by that. But having a good profile, if you will, like what you do online, like what you say, how you are, how you can, when you start getting professional, you become a professional person or whatever, like you could be held accountable for things that you post about people or how you post it, or how do you affect somebody else when you post somebody about somebody, or you do a show about somebody, or you investigate somebody. Like there's as a journalist or as somebody who is like working, you're like, okay, so how am what I'm doing, how are they affecting this? How are they affecting that? Whatever. Then you put yourself into like, you put yourself in your comedy headspin, right? You know, the satire. What can I do is let me go to satire. Let me do satire. You know, or let me like write an article or, you know, do a blog post or do a Substack or make a video or do a podcast because I have a topic I want to research and talk about or whatever. And then you have like, if you are a YouTuber, if you're, to me, I'm serious. I've always been serious about Not My Rabbit Hole. Like, this channel that I started, it's not Thomas Schoenberger channel. It's not David Schroeder channel. Like, I'm not looking to like change my, you know, handle. Like, you know, I did change this once. It used to be at Not My Rabbit Hole with Terry Joyce. I took the Terry Joyce part off and just went at Not My Rabbit Hole. That was easier, but the title's still the same. I might have swapped out my backgrounds or, you know, made a logo or starting to change, you know, because at first I'm like, what is this channel? Like, what do I see it as being? I mean, when you think about like your time and your energy and your creativity, and what is it that I'm trying to say to people? What do I think that my listeners and my subscribers, the people that are here that I've accrued over the years when I first started, that come from different ways of finding this channel, and I'm analyzing like why and what is working for me and my YouTube channel. What is my purpose here in the first place? What do I enjoy? What do I not enjoy about it? And, you know, for me, like, you know, I did radio, I did interviews, I was part of a fringe UFO, what we thought was the truth media. And it was based on like beliefs like the Matrix and taking the red pill, which became part of a political lingo as well. And I saw this. I got an airplane coming. I recognized, or I saw this. Oh, here we go again. Hi, Aiken. Michelle Obama said that they were supposed to be at the Realmans that evening. Oh, the Reiners. Oh, yeah, I get it now. Sometimes, like when you're trying to do messages on in the chat on you know, you don't spell something right before you say it. Yeah, wow, Michelle Obama was supposed to be there. That whole thing, I mean, I'm gonna have to like process that because, you know, I still have a little bit of a conspiracy mind too. So I've got to do all my inner checks and balances about everything. Is when I first started, I just lapped up everything, and I thought everything that Stephen D. Kelly said was like that. You know, he knew he was, you know, ex CIA NSA contractor. He knew about this stuff. He had the inside scoop. And I think that's kind of like the lure, you're like, oh no, because it's part of being human, or part of science even. It's about pattern recognition. We recognize patterns, and then we put these dots together within these patterns, and then you have people knowing they're people, like, let's say, I think, like, someone like Thomas Schoenberger knows that people think that way, so he will create a narrative of what those dots mean. And then let's throw some spirituality in it, either agnostic or it's Sophia or divine feminine, and put some music in it, and wow, we're practically in church. Like, I think people are really, like, it's easy to manipulate people and get them to believe something when you throw God into it. When you make it, because, like, I mean, what do we not know? What do we not know that we can't see with our eyes and our senses? It's like, what happens after this? Is that all there is? Like, because if you think that, well, that's all there is, and you want to get whatever the most that you can right now, right? Because you have a scarcity consciousness, even in the thought of what is your spirituality, and what is, like, why are we here? I mean, people go like, well, what is it to be human? Are we going to go extinct? What is a soul? Like, everybody, like someone like David Schroeder or whatever, everybody thinks that they know what that is, and what they think it is the only way that it is, and that's it. Okay. And everybody has their own mind and their own way of seeing something. But there are some people that push it on others, or they whip others with it, or they control them. They control them politically. Like, what's happening right now? Christian nationalists. We're talking about Christian nationalism, like, and Trump being associated to that. And yet he won't put his hand on the Bible when he's sworn into the presidency. Like, I'm sorry, but like me, like me, who was a child that looked up at the ventriloquist and say, I can't see their lips moving. I can't help myself. I see stuff like that. They line up for me. I'm like, wait a second here. What? So I gotta take a little tiny break. I'll be right back.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest bed. When I lay me down to die, I'm going up to the Twinkie in the, going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. I die. I'm gonna bite the snack that I love best. Prepare yourself, you know it's a must. Gotta have a Twinkie if you wanna trust. the sweetest best.
All right, so welcome back to Not My Rabbit Hole. All right, so before I started the stream, because like what I'm doing right now is kind of was my original concept of Not My Rabbit Hole, was that and I started it on Spotify, and it was originally on Anchor, and then it first it was Anchor, and then it uploaded to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Play. That's what I like about doing this, because when I upload something, it goes to these different platforms. And it was really just, I was just going to do a rant about how, and this is what I phrased it. This was my log line, a rant for the apocalyptic times. And now I'm wondering, oh, here it goes again. Here we go. Another airplane. Because we're in the apocalyptic times. Apocalyptic. I just wanted to talk about things that were happening, or what I thought about what were happening, like more from, the comedy genesis of my life, because as a stand-up, that's what you do. But a lot of times it's about your own life, but you're still talking about culture or whatever. Whatever you do can be multi-layered in like the theme of what you're talking about. Who is that on stage? How would you describe that person? What is their material like? And and I think for me, I kind of changed. Like it was one way at one point, and then it went over here to another point. Because as people, we grow, or we rewrite, we put the sentences, different. Like you rewrite, because I think like somewhere, as if you're an artist, or you make music or whatever, if you're observing, and then you're reflecting, and then you're creating something like like poetry or a song or whatever. When you look at the body of work of someone, you see the early years, the mid years, and later years. So sometimes you can correlate what phase of their life they were at that time. Like Bob Dylan. I don't know, there's this movie called I don't know, something like I'm Here or something like that, but it has all these different actors playing different phases of Bob Dylan's life. And Kate Blanchard played him. Bob Dylan. She was the best. She was better. I think she was even nominated for Academy Award for that. I know I'm kind of trailing, but that's kind of what I wanted to do, for Not My Rabbit Hole, just that free association rant on stuff. Because for me, sometimes, as a writer or a comedian or whatever, I can go back and then pick out parts from okay, that's a hit. You can rework that. You can tighten that up. You can tighten that thing that you're trying to convey up for later on. But sometimes you just have to let yourself free form, just let out what's going on out in your head. I mean, maybe people will criticize me for it. Maybe they'll go, oh my God, what? I mean, maybe you disagree with me. Fine. I like that. I think the thing that, for me in the world, as putting it out there online in this medium that's now our reality, there's things that you're okay, you have to go with somebody who's not going to agree with you, or like what you have to say, or like what you report about them, or whatever you're doing. I mean, look at the battle between Trump and Rosie O'Donnell. What are people attacking? Are the people that in some ways are cultural icons in a way? And if you want to get oh, let's connect the dots. Rosie O'Donnell and Rob Reiner, she was in Sleepless in Seattle that he directed, that starred Tom Hanks. Woo! Ooh, right? Right? But you know what? We still have to put a little love in our heart. We got to put a little love in our heart when we are realizing that people that we thought were something that aren't, or not, or is, or whatever, or how we judge, or how we take somebody else's social media post and stand by that opinion because, I don't know, you like that person, they vibe with your thought of politics. And question it and check in and say, why do I think this? Or is that possible? Or maybe I'll just put that over here and look into it later, but I don't have to say that that's what I think. If what I think influences people, because I don't want to, influencing people in a way that may or may not be true, or is not true. I think is misusing your gift, or misusing what is, like we think about like JFK's speech about the press and repugnant, and because we live in a free and open society, like that's why, like, hate speech is, covered or protected by the First Amendment, because what determine what that is really. I mean, according to like the Constitution, if you speak hate speech and then you incite violence, then that's considered hate speech because it either harms yourself or other people. But other than that, you can say it. You can express it somewhere. It may not be on YouTube because YouTube has its own guidelines. YouTube has its own requirements or whatever they think hate speech is, because they're a private company and so they can make different rules. Just like there's state laws and federal laws, and state may do something different than federal, even about the harassment and the cyber stalking and stuff like that is happening, that I'm sure there's like they're going to watch this, or they're tuned in or whatever, because it's getting really heated up right now. But that's not the only thing that's happening in my life. Like, in fact, I have to refuse to let that be part of the other parts of my life. And if it is, then let me deal with it in like a media or a creative way. Why see, I was talking about, or in the concept of what Not My Rabbit Hole became, when I started the blog, and I started, my blog says Beyond the Red Pill. Because that lingo, because that thing that happened in politics, and like it was manipulated with that, with a different kind of spirituality. But if you look at the Matrix films, it's Trinity. The name, character Trinity, Morpheus, Father, Son, God, the architect. It still had the same story in it. it just was like different characters. And then we still swallowed it and go, yeah, I'm awake. I'm out of the matrix. I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I believed it for a while. Back in, 2012, back in, 2014, 15, 16. But when it got to about 17 of all numbers, I started to go, wait a second here. It's like I saw a glitch in that little matrix. Something wasn't right. Something didn't add up. The people, I discovered things about people around me that at one time I thought they were like, the shit. But I think the main thing is to like question everything. How do you know if something is real or valid or okay or whatever if you don't question it? If you don't, like when an advertiser goes, oh, this cream is, gonna make your eyelids shrink up like in 3 minutes and you're gonna look 10 years younger if you put it under your eye. And then you see somebody like, one of the videos with a little fan when they put the cream on and it's, oh my God, it works. Okay, you have to see it. But even then, even if you see it, maybe you shouldn't even still believe it because we know that we have, AI. We have AI images. We have, deep fakes. Is it real or is it Memorex? We can like chop ourselves up and show whatever we want online so that we can get a job or whatever, or it's just what we want. What's really weird to me is like how like I've been watching these like, like stories of these insane influencers committing murder and stuff, or they're getting murder or whatever. It's like, it's crazy. And so now, let's pray. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna go to there though. I'm gonna go to a little bit of the other stuff that's been going on. So I'll be right back. Maybe I'll do this one. No, which one do I? Maybe I'll do both. Hey, I just want to acknowledge, welcome back. I want to acknowledge Aiken and their Smoking the Clown. And then there is Aiken Drum. And so, you guys, I showed some of the stuff that you said here. So, and I was saying, like, okay, earlier, right? Aiken said Michelle Obama was said that they were supposed to be at the Reiners that evening. And I got stuck up on that word, but I didn't have my glasses on either. So I was like, my God, what is that word? And I want to be honest there too. So, and then he was saying, because sometimes I text too fast and my words, I'm like, oh my God, that shouldn't have come out like that. You know what I mean? And then you can't fix it. And you're like, and if you're on your phone, like your thumb feels big and it's whatever, but I don't do text to speech. But he says got a cold, so text to speech is screwing up. Well, I hope your cold gets better. I hope you feel better really soon. And Angela, good morning. Good morning. I hope I don't know if you're having coffee. Smoke one if you got it. That's all I'm saying. Smokey the Clown. Love that movie. The tough black actor Bean. Dylan on the Train was amazing. Fitch Hanks, yeah. I mean, this is just so. Nobody said a thing about Hanks until he was pulled along with Dwayne Johnson as able to beat Drumpf if they ran against him, and both considered running. Psyops proceeded. Yeah. I mean, wait, how? Why is that stuck there? Yeah, I was like stuck there for a second. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Tom Hanks is a very familiar character. I don't want to say character, but the narrative in the Red Pill. Okay, we haven't heard about him in a while. Remember, I even did videos about this. His son had his shirt off and he had like the Illuminati stuff tattooed all over his chest, and he goes, the first people that go into FEMA camps are you guys, like the right or whatever. Because like I've jumped back and forth. I mean, I grew up a Democrat. Okay, look, I have lefty, like, smeared all over me. All right, I've had different color hair, whatever. I have been. Oh, I've been really supportive. I like gay people. I've been really supportive of the gay community. I've actually done activism. I fundraised for Equality California, which was legalizing gay marriage. I had people shout at me in their cars, "You're going to go to hell for that." And I'd say back, "I might be going to hell, but trust me, it's not this." Like, I lived in West Hollywood. I guess, I was, an advocate for cannabis legalization and medical marijuana and all that stuff. That was my genesis. I'm doing comedy shows, fundraising for the cause or whatever. And, I'm dressed up like the Statue of Liberty, holding a bong in the air. I mean, with a marijuana leaf on my breast, I'm that girl. That's why you have Nasty Social Media doing all these pictures of me and dressed in the Statue of Liberty, because he knows that history. I'm proud of it. I'm not gonna sit back and oh God, I'm gonna deny who I was. But then all of a sudden, like, I took a bite out of the red pill. I'm out of the matrix. Yes, it's the Clinton body count, and again, lovely connecting the dots, believing it, whatever. I voted for Trump because of what was happening on WikiLeaks and the underbelly of the mention of Jeffrey Epstein. Like, on Freedom of Choice, when I had Freedom of Choice, I was heavily covering that topic. down to Ghislaine Maxwell with the Terramar Project and the Clinton Foundation. Like, I sifted, that was part of like what I used to do, and still do to some extent, although I have a different set of eyes and requirements and responsibilities for myself now that I've gotten my degree. Like, I look back at myself and go, oh my God, I might have been, I was fixated into a mindset. I went from one mindset to another mindset, to one side of politics to the other side of politics, thinking this is what it is. This is what's going to keep America together and our lives together and, make everything okay. I'm not sure anymore, really. I feel like, sitting back like George Carlin and go, I got to go to the circus and here I am with my notebook. I'm ready to take notes. Maybe I'm that guy, person, girl, whatever, creature, beast, it. I think we need more thought before we insert foot or engage in conversation or, whatever. And, when you look at things on the internet, when you say this is happening on the internet, it's not happening right inside my house. If they post my apartment number and say that they're that many steps away, they're not knocking at my door right now. They want you to think that you're knocking at their door, and there's nothing that you can do legally to say that that's not okay to do to somebody online. And that's also a part of their, free speech and their free speech rights. To do that to you, to, go to an AI prompt and go, hey, can I have this image and, okay, make her wear a fuzzy black sweater. Boom, you get another image. Now it comes out. All right, I want her to have a bloody arm. Okay, boom, Oh, yeah, can you give me a little more blood drip? Okay, the prompt, the AI imagery, doesn't it? Hey, how about like she's holding a glass of wine with her other hand? Like, the process to create something like that in your mind, the things that you're thinking, the image that you want the AI to create, so you can put it out so that you can like make that other person that you don't like see it. And, I hope they see this. What is the intent behind that? What is that person's intent? Like, what is David Schroeder's intent when he talks to his audience? When he prays to God? What does he think he's accomplishing? Who does he think he's talking to? Who does he think that is tuning in to what he's saying about people and himself? Why is he doing what he's doing? Is it because he wants money? Because that's his grift? That's always been his grift? Like, somebody said, hey, there's this thing happening, and people talk about it, and it's called satanic ritual abuse, and we're probably going to weaponize it into American politics. Maybe there's somebody up in the higher food chain. We're going to take this narrative and we're going to like bounce back and forth and blame whatever political party we want to at whatever time we want to. So, because people will only be able to think that the red or the blue team is winning or losing. And it works. And let's throw God in there so we can like manipulate them spiritually and emotionally and politically. And they won't be able to see past that to find out what really is happening. Let's do that. And we'll call it Discordianism, or we'll give it chaos. and we'll say it's chaos for divinity, to accomplish what we really want, what's better for everybody else, because we are in control. I'm in control. I'm a mini me and I'm in control. Is that it? I mean, that, it seems seductive. Everybody seems to do it, right? Everybody seems to answer to somebody. Like, at some point, a lot of people might take an oath, or they might go through their journalism class and say, oh, I get what integrity is. I get, like, the SPF code of ethics and how I'm to say this and that and make sure this and take this into consideration. It's not a law. It's not a rule. It's just kind of like an oath. You can cross your fingers behind your back and do whatever the hell you want, basically. Free speech, we don't care about that. We care about our network and what our boss says and what the sentiment and the viewpoint of the left or the right is. Because I answer to that and I need a paycheck, right? I'm not really here to, I have a price. I'm not really here to really sit down and say, no, I believe this is a truth. This is a lie. This needs to come out. I'm willing to do this to get ahead, because I work for the media with the all-seeing eye, with the eye of Horus, right? I'm with that network. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I'll be back.
Deal. In a world of pain, a whisper starts to bloom of a secret chamber chasing away all gloom. They call them med beds, a futuristic dream. Med beds. Med beds. A promise so grand, but no real photos, just one giant hologram. They say they're coming, $1 billion plan. Don't show up in my scans. Med beds. A promise so grand, but no real photos, just one giant hologram. They say they're coming, $1 billion plan. Don't show up in my scans. Police say Tesla built them in a lab far away, or aliens brought them for a brighter new day. Hidden in tunnels by the deep state's own hand, hoarded by the wealthy across the whole land. QAnon voices on Telegram, they shout, Trump will release them, no reason to doubt. A benevolent military will roll out the plan, free for all citizens, every woman and man. Oh, med beds.
Med beds, a promise so grand, but no real photos, just sand in your hand. A jumble of buzzwords, a child Star Trek plea, quantum frequencies for all to be free. But if it sounds too good, it's a dangerous art, a mirage for the desperate, breaking every heart.
They talk of bad frequencies and good to restore, a science that simply makes no sense anymore. The FDA warns us of devices unproven, hucksters and scams, their true motives are woven, charging small fees for a bed that's not there, leaving folks empty, lost in despair. When real help is needed, they turn you away for a fictional cure that will never see day. Oh, med beds.
Med beds, a promise so grand, but no real photos, just sand in your hand. A jumble of buzzwords, a child Star Trek plea, quantum frequencies for all to be free. But if it sounds too good, it's a dangerous art, a mirage for the desperate, breaking every heart.
So look for the evidence, the truth in the light. Don't fall for the fantasy in the dark of the night. For true healing comes from science and care, not from a med bed floating in thin air. Med beds! 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 Med beds!
Okay, by the way, I want to point out that song's called Med Beds, and med beds are very much part of the red pill, woke UFO technology blank thing, and it's a belief that there's these med beds, and Trump knows about it or whatever. And people can get into it and even maybe grow a limb or be younger, or I mean, it just goes everywhere. And somebody who was really pushing this was James Rink, who unfortunately was the super soldier talk. He just recently passed away. And I just want to say a rest in peace on James Rink, even though I didn't agree with like a lot of the things that he was doing. I am sad to see him gone. And I was thinking about doing a show maybe this weekend, just kind of like, I mean, I'm not going to like rip him apart and like that, just like an overview of him and how he, how he's involved or was involved with the media that I'm talking about. He was very much a part of like Revolution Radio and stuff like that. And so part of a huge, I mean, I think he's responsible for creating the super soldier folklore. What did I do with my glasses? What did I do with my glass? See, that's the thing when you have glasses, like, well, where did I put it at? Is it on my head? Is it? Oh no, it's in the case. Okay, so Aiken says, have you heard of culture jamming, Terry? No, I have not. I'm interested. What is that? Can you give us if you're still here, can you give us like a little quick line about what that is? Give me a log line of what culture jamming is, or maybe I'll research a little bit later if we have time. Okay, so one of the things that I do want to talk about is what I have observed, and because I've been really busy, but I've had flashes of things that are happening surrounding the Thomas Schoenberger, Blazin, David Schurter, little blurbs and things of that I've watched happen, right? I mean, obviously, Thomas Schoenberger has been just, going nuts on me. I see his YouTube community page, right? So he's just been like going nuts and saying these really horrible things since my last Monday night broadcast. Oh, before I get into that, I did put a survey out there. What are your thoughts on Trump's recent Truth Social post about Rob Reiner and his wife's death? And I gave 3 options. One was political condolences are wrong, families come before politics, and then Meathead has Trump derangement syndrome. And I did a similar one on X, and I'm leaving that one up for like 7 days to see what the percentages are. So far on Not My Rabbit Hole, 7 people have answered, and the 57% is that families come before politics. There is 29% say that politics condolences are wrong, and 14% said that Meathead has Trump derangement syndrome. So, and it's gotten a few comments on it, which I'm gonna not share. But I thought that's kind of interesting. I mean, even though it's only 7 people, but I want to thank those 7 people, whoever did take that survey. There's another thing that I'm going to just mention the most recent post that I know today that Thomas Schoenberger's made after my last stream, where I basically point out that David Schurter's sheriff that I spoke to for about an hour last week, the week before last week, because it was Monday when I did it. So the week before that, I was talking to one of the sheriffs about David Schurter and, what I could do to protect myself against him and everything like that. But they like the whole thing, the whole pulling David apparently saying that he's sharing Thomas Schoenberger's emails, or if Thomas Schoenberger's contacted them or whatever. They know that Thomas Schoenberger is feeding all of this stuff to David. Like that, like the Thomas Schoenberger David Schroeder connection has been acknowledged by for me in the conversation, has been acknowledged in terms of the sheriff's department. And I feel that that's huge in a way, because one of the things that's been really hard, excuse me, when you're bullying people with bots, is what I call it. I like that, bullying people with bots. I don't like it. I mean, this is what happens. I mean, even in this David's recent, he talks about how there's not 30 people in here. I know they're getting bots. Like, yeah, of course you have bots because one, they know what bothers David. And two, it makes him look like he has more clout, more reach, more ears heard the things that he said about us or me or whatever. I'm going to say I'm saying there's an us, but then if you say that there's an us, then automatically you're in the unfavorable group that Thomas Schoenberger points a finger to continuously. And, lawsuits, this and that. When you talk about people being online and how, obviously he's not in the same state that I'm in, but I feel like, he lives in my room practically, because I see it. I see what's happened. I see what's being said. I see the threats. I see him contacting my faculty advisors and, posting these things. Well, making it, being interviewed by the MSU paper about a lawsuit that I'm not in, just because he threatens one on me, because she's associated too, and I'm threatening him too, but she's not in the lawsuit. But we want you to be in the article. What? Why? Those things just don't, for me, just don't add up. Why? What? To smear me? To harass me? To continue it? To make me feel afraid still? This is his most recent. And online, on YouTube, he tagged the college I go to. And he says, "You are allowing a tutor to sexually harass both Nasty Troll Media and me. You obviously never bothered to check into the checkered past of," and he writes my name wrong, in the wrong order, but he puts my full legal name, not Terry, all right? And then he puts my last name as my middle name, and then my middle name as my last name. It might show on a different form or something. Or maybe he just messed up and it was an accident. I don't know. And then he says, I think you've got some liability here, Fresno. Oh, well, I don't want to, but I think you have a liability here, my college. And he's accusing me of sexually harassing him. Really? My response was well, are you willing to say that under oath? Because it's different when you have to say it in a court of law. You better show some evidence. And then you have to realize, and I'm sure a court would take this into account, or people should take it into account, he is a convicted felon on stalking charges. Or if he wants to say, oh, they were expunged. Okay. Why? Or were they? Is that true? Because The MSU article put that in their article, and the only way a journalist would be allowed, I mean, they should even, they could get sued if that wasn't fact checked. So if it's not true, then, maybe he should sue the paper too with Michigan State. I'm just saying. And you know what's really wrong with what he just said or what he just posted is I'm not a tutor at that college. I don't tutor at all anymore for a college. So that right now, I mean, if they went to go check me out or do whatever, what would they look at? What would they look at? They would go, oh, she's never tutored here before. And toss it. But it really isn't like, yeah, it is meant for them or not meant for them or whatever, right? Like, it's really meant for me to see and feel distressed about or whatever, or react to it or talk about it on my YouTube channel, right? That's numero uno hit. That's keep talking about it, keep doing it, whatever, but still, like, ignoring it doesn't make it go away either. Because it also affects the algorithm. And okay, maybe like somebody might be looking into me for a job and they pull up, oh, ex porn script writer. Okay. Or, they might pull up, all these other things that, people are saying about me and going, what? Like, we don't want that focus on our business. Right? Whether I'm guilty of those things or not guilty of those things are being put upon me, and the institutions of which I've gone to school and worked for have been contacted by them. And I don't want to say them, but Thomas Schoenberger and people who are associated with him. And somehow that's got to do something. That's got to not, it's not a good thing. It doesn't make you look good. It means that you have extra baggage while you're working with them, because nobody likes to be called out a soy boy because they didn't take action on what Denise McTow called about me for. It's not pleasant for anybody. I know how it feels. Why would they want it after they are working in a professional field? So when you say that it hasn't affected my life, or maybe even future opportunities, I would say that, yeah, I believe that it is at that point. Unfortunately. Is it going to happen? Do I still have options? Am I going to go forward? Am I going to get a second degree? Will I work? Probably yes. Hopefully. David Schurter, like this, mocks me. Oh, she's not scared. Oh, Corey Daniels coaching her to, like, you're not the victim, Terry, is what he says to me. While he tells people to do whatever, or they better do this, or let me pray because you need to be in the darkness. You're blank, 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 blank. Hell, he even told people, again, he said, it's T-E-R-E, Terra. No, it's Terry. We pronounce it, I pronounce it, Terry. But he even, like, sits there and, like, re-says how my name needs to be read, while he abuses the name. with things that Thomas Schoenberger emails him in the night. That's why they're so mad at me. That's why Thomas Schoenberger can't stop posting or going to the links to make it look like I'm sexually harassing him. And it's the holidays. Oh, their favorite time to really screw with you. I mean, if you're going to talk about patterns, I've seen this pattern before at this time. Blazon's out there. I'm going to have a great Christmas. By the way, I think she created a new channel, which I'm uploaded to it. Like, she said her legal name, Terry Joyce Randolph, so I have a right to say it over. I have a right to put it and identify with it on a channel. Put her name as my channel. Well, I write horrific lies about her that involve minors. Let me do that. I have the right to do that because I just don't like you, right? I mean, basically, your rights don't matter. I have a right. The Constitution protects what I say about you, even though it damages you in 100 million, different ways, from state of mind to how you feel around your supervisor and your peers after it. Yeah, they're not doing anything. There's no responsibility on their end. It's protected speech. There's no laws in place. Doesn't matter. I guess, I asked 2 different law enforcement, what's it going to take? Somebody actually these guys inciting violence on somebody to where some person who believes that's crazy, not all okay, comes and murders one of us? Is that going to make everybody wake up and go, oh, we made a mistake? Maybe we better change things all the way through the entire institutional system, going from, whether this is happening to somebody while they're attending a college to the workplace to, oh, we need different laws because we didn't realize people could do that with their YouTube channel. Not even YouTube understands it. So, to the part where he prays. It's the prayers, the religious manipulation, the spiritual manipulation to convince people. Let me see. Maybe I can't find it. When did he pray? It's not there. Not there. Maybe it's here. No. I guess I should have had this ready to go. I thought I did. I thought I was closer to it. And if I don't find it, then I'm not meant to find it. I mean, he's doing a lot of dog stuff, right? Let's go around here. Because I wrote that passage in his book about what he did as puppy years ago. So now the dog has now become a part of his live streams when it wasn't before. He made usually it was just people were giving peanut butter to my dogs and coming to my house, to their sexually assaulting my dogs. It just goes on and on. But here we go.
I'm not asking for likes, comments. I'm not asking for shit. And for a long time, I didn't allow comments or likes on any of my videos.
All right. Long pause. Reading what they're saying.
Yes, you have selective empathy. You have empathy for yourself and fuck everyone else. That's the sad part about it.
And it's weird because that's what I think about him, right?
Then I'm not talking about you, am I? But are you everybody in the world?
Okay. And in the beginning of this, he talks about how they're saying that, who said, I don't know, I'm assuming Thomas and whatever, the his buddy Johnny Dub are saying that Geo is dead. And then last night I see Daniel Dowd playing this or playing, or no, this morning showing that he's not dead. Like, I glance a little bit, or was it yesterday? I don't know. I get confused. It's been a long 48 hours for me. I've been in a tomb of writing rewrites.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Haven't I come but the words, if Geo's dead, let him be. I already know.
Here we go. Yeah, it's the prayer. Let's get to the prayer. Here we go. Oh, I should probably. The prayers are just like, they're like David Schurter classics.
But are you everybody in the world? Jesus Christ. Okay. Haven't I come but the words, if Geo's dead, let him be. I already know if he's dead, he is claimed. Let them all be claimed. Let it be a wake-up call for all of them. God's wrath exists. And whether or not people believe or don't believe, it doesn't change shit. People believed that the sun revolved around the earth. Did it change anything? No.
It's interesting to me how he opens his eyes while he's praying. Like most of the time when people pray, they just keep their eyes shut the whole time. They don't just stop to do a reaction for the viewers.
And so I'm done.
Was that it? That was it. No amen, no nothing.
I get really tired of people.
Maybe I accidentally did the cursor. Let me go back. How does this happen? No, farther.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Haven't I come but the words, if Geo's dead, let him be. I already know if he's dead, he is claimed. Let them all be claimed. Let it be a wake-up call for all of them. God's wrath exists. And whether or not people believe or don't believe, it doesn't change shit. People believed that the sun revolved around the earth. Did it change anything? No. And so I'm done.
That's it. That's it. And what do you mean? The sun revolved around the earth? Does it change anything? Well, yeah. What is he saying? He's a flat earther or something? What is going on here? And then saying, I'm glad, telling God that he's glad if Geo was dead, he would be glad about it, and the dark would be there for him. What? That is an example of the God manipulation. I don't know what religion that David thinks that it's all over the place. And yet he thinks that he's talking to people that do and that believe what he's saying. And they understand. And he's telling them, go do something about these people. I'm even praying and asking God for it. Like, it's like he curses people in his prayers, in his videos. Like, who is he doing that for? I mean, like, I'm thinking of, like, Not My Rabbit Hole. Like, what? Why am I talking about this? Well, this is kind of part about the concept of Not My Rabbit Hole. David has a book called Rabbit Hole. He has been a part of the mythology of the Matrix, which goes into Lewis Carroll and the rabbit hole. Even the Matrix borrows the bunny going down the rabbit hole. During that time, everybody was saying, there was like, what the bleep do we know? Said it. It became a part of our vernacular in what we considered to be a media that was honest and telling the truth about what reality is and what really is happening. And David is sitting there using that to weaponize harassment against Thomas Schoenberger's targets. Thomas Schoenberger's targets. Let's go a little bit more.
I get really tired of people. Diddy did get away with it. They always get away with it. And why? Because everybody just wants to look the other way.
See, here goes the manipulation. And by the way, before I get into that, see how much time I have. Before I get into that, I want to address something that Aiken says. It's a fundamental, like we talked about I asked what culture jamming was, and he said it's a fundamental element in the method that Discordianism uses to evolve change as part of the mindfuck. Yeah, Operation Mindfuck. Yeah. Sociopaths go through the motions. That's what he does during his praying. Spelled correctly. Praying. Not Prayin. It's Preying. It's not Praying. It's the praying. He's praying on people. Let's go a little bit farther because I don't know. There's something in here. Hopefully I find that spot.
Tomorrow, can anybody trust him? No. At this point, no. Daniel Dowd, a.k.a. Pootie Twang.
Here we go.
They could have done it at any point in time. But they have so many FBI people redacting and trying to get rid of stuff.
Okay, we're talking about the FC files. Okay.
But even if those files come out tomorrow, can anybody trust him?
And his whole thing too is like, like earlier on in this video, I'm going to give you a synopsis. He's talking about like, oh, Diddy got away with it. They're never going to do anything. You're never going to get these big fishes. Here's the small list fish that you really need to go after, right? And he's going to go through the list.
No, at this point, no. It's the same thing. The pedophiles get off in more ways than one. So the pedophile group that I'm after, just let me end it on this. Colonel Michael Aquino, who I don't believe is dead. Thomas Schoenberger. Gabe Hoffman. Lucian Greaves, a.k.a. Johnny Dubb, a.k.a. John Kilrush, a.k.a. Brian Word, a.k.a. Doug Mesner. His real name is Doug Masico, founder of the Satanic Temple. Colonel Michael Aquino was founder of Temple of Set. All involved in child trafficking. Then you have the worker bees, the low lives that actually do their dirty work for them.
Okay, so we're the low lives. Like, not only, like, we don't get to be like, more powerful, evil guy. We are like down on the totem pole, just evil people doing the dirty work. We are working for our overload or overlords. Is basically what an insult. Like you guys who have your channels and other YouTubes that are saying have a voice or whatever. Somebody tunes in or something. You are the low lives traffickers that are doing the dirty work for your overlords. And so you're even scummier the scum. At least get these people, right, David? Right?
Corey Daniel, aka Phoenix Enigma, Alicia Ray, aka the Sicilian Witch, both completely involved with the murder of Isaac Happy. Daniel Dowd, aka Pootie Twang, aka American Witchcraft, aka whatever. Geo Farnsworth, who is Baba Yaga, and Cloudwaffen, and all kind. They have so many names. Kara, who is part of Free Range. She's Free Range Human. She's an idiot. Used to call herself Emily Thorne, and she called herself Skills. Now she's calling herself Siren. She's Lucian Greaves, founder or co-conspirator. They were both heavily involved with that Amber Volatin when they murdered Lori King. If you have any questions about any of the people that I'm talking about, go to davidschurter.com, go down in the search engine, just type in Lori King. Read about how they murdered her. Because it's the same shit that they did to Isaac Happy. Manuel Chavez, a.k.a. DeFango, Jesse Davis, Tara Joyce, Craig Sawyer. My stepmother is involved with it. Joanne C. Schurter, she's all involved with them. And this Famalam thing. But if you like child fucking pedophiles, don't do shit. Don't give a shit. But there'll be accountability to whatever we choose. We reap what we sow. And that's how it works. I've been at this for decades. And I just keep saying the same things over and over and over and over and over again.
Well, yeah, all right. So one last thing. I just want to go right to here. Right here. Because I think he talks about me in the beginning.
Not at all. How many times can they play this game and think that it's going to work? They said Aquino committed suicide twice, 3 years apart. I was told that my
I might be wrong, but let's just play a little bit of this.
stepmother was dead. Kathy, my sister, convinced everyone that our stepmother was dead. So I was convinced she was dead until about 3 or 4 years later when I ran into her at the Farmhouse Cafe. What it is that they want me to stop talking about them. And who told me about Geo? Thomas Schoenberger and Johnny Dubb. That's how I found out. They sent.
Okay, so they sent him in the middle of the night and they said Geo is dead. All right. So then David would come out and talk about it, right?
The shit to me. Because they wanted me to know. Thomas thinks that I'm fucking obsessed with him. Dude, if I never had to think about you again, I wouldn't. Hey, Susan. But it's the child trafficking bullshit that you're involved with that I'm focused on, and I'm not going to let it go. Personally, each one of you, I could give a fuck less. If Geo's dead, it means that the dark has claimed him. The dark is getting ready to claim all of you dickheads. Tara Joyce can run with that picture of me with the horns and the whip. That was taken on a Halloween. There were 3 other guys dressed like that. They all went out and bought these outfits.
Okay, so I'm watching them. I'm like, what picture is he? I know what he's talking about, and I think I made a post and a statement about that like a year ago or more. Like, I haven't thought about that. I mean, I've not made a post recently, but what I suspect is that, Schoenberger and Dub were like sitting there and going, and look, she posts this about you so that he can come on and throw me into his, he's going to make a comment about it.
The difference between me and the other three guys is they all painted their faces blue. And I wasn't painting my face blue. So I was willing to put the horns on my head and the whip. It was a Halloween thing. It was a bunch of people all together. We were all having fun.
Methinks you doth protest too much. What? Who cares? Now you have to explain why you had horns on your head and a whip, and that you were not that's not what you represent or believe in, because you wanted to do something different because other people had painted their faces blue. Like, what is this?
Fuck these people. Fuck them. As far as the dark goes, Thomas, you want to know the difference between your dumbasses and me? I'm well aware of my dark. I'm well aware of the fact that my dark doesn't have a bottom. It can go on infinitely, and I'm okay with that. The dark is here to claim you. The thing that I put on here is that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be focused and it can be amplified. And that is what heaven is doing. The sun has hit us with so much energy. Heaven is using that energy. And the dark is loose.
Okay, so I think you get my point, right? About how people get manipulated. How he's using all these conspiracies and demonizing and talking about people and all of it is protected by the Constitution. What can I say? Right? David, we can't, all of this is okay because it's David's right to free speech. Doesn't matter if it's true speech, but it's his right to do and say. He has a right to, ruin somebody's reputation or bully them or make them afraid because he's protected by the Constitution. I love the Constitution. I love freedom of speech. But there's something else. This has to be defined as something else. There is a danger and an assault happening to people online, and it is politicized and is manipulated through religion and politics. And it damages people's lives. Because, in a sense, we live on the internet. We have commerce on the internet. The internet represents who I am, or, what I want to be, or what I'm striving for in whatever platform, or whatever media, whatever contribution, whatever creativity I put here that reflects me or what's going on or what's saying. It's happening in real time right now. What it is done with later on and how it's chopped up or how it's viewed or how it's processed or how it's misrepresented is beyond my control. And if these are our laws that protect us, and God forbid, I love having free speech. I just want to know that my speech is just as free as everybody else's. But there's a danger happening here on the internet that we have to take that out of the equation in some ways. Like YouTube can regulate its own platform, it's a private business. There are other dynamics that are in place here that I think as people we need to take a look at. If we need to minimize harm to ourselves and other people on YouTube and what we do. And that's my final reflection. Thank you for listening to Not My Rabbit Hole, and I wish you a great rest of your day. God bless.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.